Hello and welcome to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Marta, I come from Norway and I love makeup. And today I am excited to be showing you guys my custom fall palette made with only Tammy Tanuka pigments. So as you can see, as most of you, if you have been here before, you know that I do press my Tammy Tanuka pigments myself. So I have a video, I actually have a couple of videos on it, and I'm trying to make a new one that is a little bit more updated, but I do press my own pigments so that I can have them in 26mm pans, just because I definitely prefer them in this format. I get so much more use out of them, and I can put them in my custom palettes, which I love because the shimmers and the sparkly pigments are just so stunning. I have nothing similar except for maybe the Divina sparkly shadows. They can maybe compare a little bit, but yeah, this is at least my Tammy Tanuka fall palette, and it is a little bit limited with my mattes. I think I have like 11 matte pigments and I definitely want more. I do have some really interesting shades, but these are the ones that I had that could fit into a fall color scheme. So I did already do some photos and videos of these together, so I'll just try to show you those. But obviously, as you can see, I have a mustard, I have a red that is more of like a plummy red, I guess, maybe wine red, and we have a very cool toned, a little bit deeper blue. We have a olivey, I guess you could say military green, and we have a little variation of shimmers as well. Most of them have some kind of green or gold shift, and there are a couple of different textures. Most of these are like normal shimmers but with micro sparkles. I have one satin, which is the lightest one, and a more flaky one, which is the kind of, how do I even explain it, like olivey, taupey, sparkly shade. But anyway, now that you've seen the swatches and the shadows a little bit more up close, let's just go straight into the look that I have on. Okay, so for this look, I really want to go into these more deeper, more cozy colors, and I think I'll just use this on the outer corner of the crease and this one on the inner corner, and maybe I will use some of these for my lower lash line, because this one would probably blend quite nicely with this one. So I'm just going to start with Forest Alley right here, and I'm just going to add that in my outer corner using my Kaleidos Makeup S3 brush. I am also using my Kaleidos Makeup Tone Activator actually, and both the brushes I got from them and the primer are gifted to me, so just letting you know about that. But I'm just trying out some different primers with these because I used a different Tammy Tanuka shadow with my NARS primer, and it would kind of like just disappear when I was packing it on. So I'm hoping that this might be a little bit more moisturizing. I don't really know how I feel about it right now. I mean, it's very opaque. I just feel like I kind of shouldn't blend way too much. Obviously I have to blend the edges here, but I just feel like I'm going to have patchiness. I don't know if you can see it, but it's like a small stripe almost there. I feel like that might be an area where I might have some patchiness. But I'm just going to try to not overdo it. So I'm just taking the other edge of my brush and I'm going into Wild Empress right here. And I'll just be using that for the other half of my lid. These tones are kind of giving me Christmas vibes. Okay, so I think I'll leave it at this, and I'll put on some... No, you know what? I'm actually not going to use glitter glue now, because I always do that with my pigments. But this is more of like almost a satin shimmer or something, so I feel like it might really apply nicely with just a wet brush. So what I usually do if I use it wet, it's that I apply as much product as I can onto the brush, and then I spray the brush so that I don't get a lot of like the setting spray or whatever I'm using into the shadow, because obviously wetting shadows will make them more likely to get mold or stuff like that because of the moisture. So I'm just spraying with my Mario Badescu spray, and I'll just start adding it all over my lid. and it looks really like foiled and wet, which of course I really like. So pretty. I'm just adding a little bit more because I had a lot of moisture on my brush, and I feel like if it's drier, it's also easier to like make the edges not look too sharp, but more soft, I guess. Okay, so I do not really like how the mattes are looking now, because obviously they got a little bit wet by the brush, so I feel like I need to let this dry and then I can reapply the mattes and kind of like more diffuse the edges a little bit more of the shimmer, and hopefully I can fix the appearance of the mattes because I didn't really blend them a lot earlier. I do feel like the deepest shade here is fading a little bit, so I'm just taking a brush at the same shape of the Kaleidos one, just a little bit smaller. And I'll just like try to pack it on a little bit here because it almost looks a little bit shiny, so maybe the primer is a little bit too wet. I don't know. I'm also going to make sure I have this green just in my outer corner right there because I want to connect it with that more olivey green shade down here. So I'm just going to take this shade, I think it's called Voivod, and I'm using this little brush, and I'll just be adding that right here to the outer corner. And I feel like using these more warmer tones will make the look a little bit more fall instead of more like Christmas. Now I'm taking Addicted to Mustard on that exact same brush. I'm starting to pack it on here. And I'm going to like blend it into that green shade. And I won't really bother too much on blending them together because I will be going in with one of the shimmers. I will although try to intensify this red a little bit here. I just feel like I should have had like a transition shade for it because it does end up blending out quite purpley, as you might see right here. I guess I could have used the yellow, but then again, because the yellow is so warm and this red is so cool toned, I don't know how that would end up looking like, so I'm just going to leave it like this. I do feel like I want a little bit of a contrast from like the upper part of my lid to the lower part of my eye here, so I think I'll go in with Redheaded Mentor here because it has like this red bronzy look to it, but like from where I'm looking right now, it looks like a very yellowy, almost greenish gold. So it has a little bit of that coolness to it, but also a lot of warmth. So I'm also going to spray this with my Mario Badescu spray, and I'm just going to add that right here. Something like this, I think. I'm also going to do the same with this lightest shimmer in my palette, Bogeyman of the Seabed, I think it's pronounced. It's this very like bright light yellow. There we have my finished look, and I really like how all of these shadows play together. I just love this color story. I can definitely see myself using a couple of these for a Christmas color story as well. And yeah, I just love Tammy Tanuka shades, and I feel like the mattes are also really good. They are a little bit different from what I'm used to. I don't know exactly how to describe them because I feel like they're like really pigmented and they blend easily, but you should also not like pack on and blend too much because then they can look a little bit patchy. So maybe that means that they're a little bit dry, I guess. But that wouldn't be like that weird because they are loose pigments and I don't know if they actually have binder in them, considering that they will actually stick into the pan when I press them. It is kind of an indicator for me that there might be binder. I will have to double check the ingredient list, but yeah, I think they're definitely not as dry as my Davina shadows, and they're a little bit more firmly pressed, but like that's my fault. But I guess I'll just have to use the mattes more to like build up an opinion and be able to actually like give you not like a review, but more of like a proper description of how the shadows are compared to other different brands. Obviously the pigments are amazing, like the shimmers are just so sparkly, so multidimensional. I absolutely love them, and it worked perfectly fine to just wet the brush instead of using glitter glue. So even though I usually use glitter glue, you can definitely just use any kind of spray. I guess just using water as well could definitely work. And yeah, I hope that you liked this color story. I personally really like colors like this. It's probably like my favorite color stories are like fall inspired colors. This mustard is the perfect mustard, and this is like the prettiest olive shade I have. And yeah, mixed with some warm tones and greens, it's just perfect in my opinion. But please leave me a comment down below what you thought of this. Remember to give this video a thumbs up if you liked it, and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already and you'd like to see more content from me. Thank you so much for watching. Bye!